The Colorado Supreme Court recently said Donald Trump's not allowed on the ballot because he allegedly, they say he engaged in insurrection or rebellion.
One of the craziest decisions that I've seen, and it's terrible. Half the country wants to vote for Donald Trump, somewhere around half. And, you know, if another country did that, like Pakistan or Iran or...
We would sanction them.
Well, yeah, we'd say that's not really a democracy. I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump. That's why I'm running against him. I don't want to beat him in a fixed, fight. And what's going to happen if they do that, if they succeed, which I don't think they will. The decision is crazy. But, then it's going to leave half the people angry. And rightly so, they should be. People should be able to vote for who they want to vote for. It was no due process. He wasn't convicted of insurrection.
Or even indicted, yeah.
Or indicted for it. And there was no evidentiary hearing. And this is a hugely consequential sanction, not with the consequence to him, but also to our whole country. And you're going to do that without due process, without him being given the essential democratic function that, of being able to confront your accusers and, all of these things that we guarantee people who are criminally charged. And we're not going to give him that. It's a crazy decision. It was a split decision. It was 4-3.
Yeah, and it certainly foments more radicalism in the country.
Of course. They're trying to hurt Donald Trump. To me, this is going to help him because it's going to fortify people's belief that the system is rigged and it's rigged against them and that they're trying to, they're trying to screw the little guy.
Do you look at yourself as running equally against Trump and Biden?
Yeah.
What would you say are the chief objections to both? If you were to say, since you're running against both, these are my objections to Trump, these are my objections to Biden.
Biden, I just don't think he is capable of governing the country. He can't do an unscripted conversation or encounter with a voter. Even the scripted ones are falling apart. So I don't think, I don't even know if there's a sort of a coherent governing philosophy that he has that I would object to. I just think that there's a competency question at this point and that he needs to answer, which means he has to debate, which I don't think that they're capable of doing. With President Trump, my objection to him is that he had a chance. The biggest thing that I object to is the lockdowns. He locked down 3.3 million businesses in this country with no due process, with no just compensation, with no scientific citation. None of the processes of democracy, the things that you have to do to involve the public in momentous decisions like that, violated the Constitution. That shifted $4 trillion north in wealth. We created $1 billion a day during that 500-day, this new oligarchy of billionaires. That was a zero-sum wealth. It was just a shift in wealth upward from the beleaguered American middle class. And then there was a number of other decisions he made during that crisis moment of American history when you really want a president who can stand up to his bureaucracy and to ask questions and to go into the weeds and to have, to stick by his instincts. He knew that hydroxychloroquine was going to work, and yet he got rolled by his bureaucrats again, and they ended up denying access to it.
By the way, I would tend to agree. As a Trump supporter, as you well know,
yeah,
I would say that the lockdowns are probably the best argument against, all what the 4 years that I would consider of a big success.
I would also say appointing John Bolton to the head of the NSA.
Totally agree. John Bolton should be deported from the country. So I'm not a warmonger, but I want to zero in. Would you at least acknowledge that Trump had flares of instincts that were correct? Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and he did leave it more to the states than I think people would probably recognize. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's true. But let me say something. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, my uncle was reluctant to invade Cuba, and there were 13 people on the ExCom committee, which is the little committee of like Dean Acheson, Bob McNamara, all the top dogs, the Joint Chiefs, who were all in on the huddle. They voted 8-6 for invasion, and my uncle said the sixes have it. So all of his guys, senior CIA people, were all telling him, "You've got to go in." And my uncle said, "Okay, we're not going to do what you guys are telling me to do." So he was able to go deep into the issue and then stand up to his bureaucracy. And I think that was something that President Trump was not able to do. He had very, very good instincts, as you say. And I don't think he had the discipline to be able to actually sit down and do the research himself that would allow him to stand up to people who are the authorities.
What's your pitch to a Trump supporter watching this or listening to this right now?
I think President Trump had it right on the medical freedom issues. I think he had it right on the war issues in his rhetoric, but I don't think he executed well. And if you want a president who's actually going to dismantle the corrupt merger of state and corporate power, that's going to address problems with the Fed, the capture of that agency by...
You mean the Federal Reserve?
By big banks with a policy that is designed to strip the American middle class of equity and shift wealth upward. If you want a president who's going to actually address the problems at the CIA and who's going to reform that agency, which President Trump never even attempted to do. That agency now has been captured by the military contractors. I don't think that President Trump is capable of getting into the weeds to do the kind of reforms that you need to do and to stand up to the bureaucracies in the process. So that is the pitch that I'd make. If you want, the America back, the America I think we all envision, I don't think that he's going to give it back to you, and I will.
These are battleground states among young people, voters 18 to 29. And this is a combination of the main battleground states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Trump at 29, Biden at 30, you are at 34%. And then voters 30 to 44 years old, you beat Trump and Biden at 31%. But let me ask you this. You have to have 270 electoral votes. Can anyone get to 270 if you were to have this kind of margin in the real situation?
We're very confident that we're going to get to 270 votes. As you point out, President Biden, President Trump get on the ballot for free. They're going to force us to spend $15 million to get on the ballot. I only need 34 points to win the election. Because technically, I could win with 34 points if the other two got 33. It's winner take all. And that's how I'm going to win. I have 10 months to take 4.5 percentage points from both candidates. And we're very confident that I'm going to do that.